Alright, guys. Well, some people are impatient, so we'll just break it down like this for those that need the answer quickly and for whatever reason don't have the time, even though I don't recommend this because the time spent is well worth it and going to produce the fruit, not the instant answers with zero context. But here we go. Nevertheless, here we are. DAW-wise, FL Studio or Ableton, the quick answer is it's up to you. Are there other ones out there as well? Yep. Is there any one that excels over another one to such a glaring point that massively everyone can agree that one is better over another? Not really. So that's a really long way of me saying you're going to have to try different DAWs, digital audio workstations, and see what works for you. FL is cheaper. So if money is a factor, I think you can basically get not the top of the line FL, which as far as I understand it, the top of the line FL is just packed with a ton of plugins, which if you've taken my courses, you know how I feel about that. So I wouldn't really go top of the line. I would probably go for the middle of the road one, which I believe is this one right here, for 300. The middle of the road Ableton starts at about $50 more than the FL Studio that would pretty much be king and all you need. Arguably standard, Ableton Standard is arguably all you need as well, but most people go for Suite. However, the cheapest option would be FL Studio. That's pretty much, so if money is a factor, you could think about that. From what I have found, I'm going to make a point in 2021 to mess with FL more so I can do it more justice. I'm going to buy it and I'm going to learn it. But Ableton is just, it's very intuitive. That's just the only way I can say it. And maybe FL is as well. But I find that editing inside of Ableton is easy and great, and it's just very drag and droppy. If you want to drag a plugin into, let's say, your baseline channel in Ableton, it's not like you have to drag and drop that plugin only in a certain area. You can drag it across the MIDI of the baseline. You can drop it on the track that says the word literally baseline. You could drag and drop it down at the bottom where your plugins go. It's very drag and drop, and you can drop it in multiple areas. It kind of thinks like you and kind of bends the rules of how you would want things to be in your own mind. So Ableton's a little more pricey. You could probably squeak by with standard and be 100% fine. I have Suite, and it's great. But you don't need all the plugins necessarily that come with Suite. It's kind of the same thing as FL. There is a top of the line FL for a similar price to Ableton Suite. More plugins isn't necessarily needed, but it is something to consider. So you can get away with roughly about $300, $350. Choose one. Try them both first. They both offer free trials. Run with that. Secondly, as far as sounds and samples go, let's actually make it like this because this will be a little bit more relevant. I'd go for Vengeance samples. Vengeance samples are the industry standard. They have been. I think that they continue to be. Some people may disagree with me on that, and that's fine. But this is your cheapest option if you want, let's say you're making dubstep. Do you want the growls and the metallic bass lines and kind of the aggressive, filthy, one-shot, bassy stabs? All of that will come in a Vengeance sample pack. Okay, so if you just want the sounds themselves, well, guess what? In FL and in, if I could find the dubstep one, it's around here somewhere, but it doesn't really matter. Whichever one you want to click on, whichever one is your sound, electro, dubstep, pop, whatever it may be. The point is, whether it's FL or Ableton that you pick, either one has a sampler in it. You can take your samples that you buy here, and you can pretty much get professional results almost instantly. The difference is, with samples, you can mangle them inside of a sampler to a degree, and you're good to go. If you're finding that with samples, you're a little limited, maybe you want to turn some knobs, Maybe you're just looking for a little bit more, I don't even know what the word I'm looking for is other than fluidity, I guess, fluid movement. You might go for the sister company of Vengeance, or so from what I can tell they are, and grab Nexus. Now, to be clear, Nexus is not a synthesizer. Nexus is what they call a Rompler. You buy expansion packs for Nexus, and those expansion packs usually come with all kinds of different stuff. Bass lines, lead lines, pianos, arps, anything you can think of, drums, anything you would need to produce a track. For $60, you buy an expansion that you download, and it automatically is recognized by Nexus, and this is basically your synth, your Rompler. Um, this will not allow you to sound design really though. You're buying expansion packs that are pre-made, but that's a very good thing because they're pre-made at a very high level and they are very professional. And you can see right here, arpeggios, atmospheres, bass, bells, brass, horns, right? Chords, classical style stuff, drum loops, drums, sound effects, guitar, lead. Now, not all of it, not every single pack has all of that, but you can see bass, breaks, chill out, chip tunes even, EDM, dubstep. They have a lot. So this is kind of the next step. If samples kind of leave you feeling a little high and dry, which I wouldn't just gloss right over samples, guys. It's the cheapest option, and Vengeance is going to make you sound very professional, very beautiful, very quickly. But if you must skip over Vengeance samples, I'd go for Nexus because you don't need to know how to sound design in Nexus. As a matter of fact, you don't sound design in Nexus. You buy expansion packs. They're commercially competitive. They sound like the genres that you want to make, and you click on whatever you want. Like in this in this part, it looks like they're going for the old school Tiesto Adiago lead there, Adiago, I guess. And when you play it, it's gonna sound like that sound. It probably is that sound. So there's no tweaking needed really with these sounds. They're good to go. They're commercial. This does come with drums as well, so it's kind of like you're getting a 2-for-1 here. Whereas the samples are sounds, they're drums, their bass lines, their lead lines, their vocals, their effects. Nexus is the same thing. It's just in a Rompler, or I guess kind of a mega sampler, if you will. And you can buy these different expansions. And as your taste changes, you can buy the expansions that are appropriate for your taste. EDM, dubstep, electro house, trap, hip hop, poppy stuff that's good to have for the background for layering, like dance orchestra is great if you need to throw some guitars in your track. Different signature series, Aoki, Tiesto, yeah, different synth sounds. Like right now, the kind of an 80s sound is very in, so you could buy 80s sounds with that. So I wouldn't just gloss over samples. It is your cheapest option, and every DAW pretty much nowadays comes with a sampler, so you can do a lot with samples. So for about 80 to 100 bucks, you have a lot of movement here. However, it's not quite as diverse, I would say, as Nexus and all the different expansions that you can buy for Nexus. But DAW, samples, Rompler, or basically kind of a really sophisticated sampler with sounds that are anything but amateur. If you buy Nexus expansions, and really, as a matter of fact, if you buy Vengeance samples, either one, whatever genre you pick, you're going to sound like that genre. It's not going to be the kind of thing where you spend 60 bucks to sound like tropical house and you just burned 60 bucks basically because it doesn't sound anything like tropical house. No. You're gonna more or less be right in the arena of Kygo, Matoma, Klingandi, old school Thomas Jack. You're gonna be right there. They don't sell crap. Either company doesn't. So there you go. Finally, I would say iZotope for products. I've been over this before, but what I would do is I would, you can get a free plugin by, it's called Span. It's by, who the heck is that by? There it is, in fact. Who is this by? Span. Voxengo. It's free. That's a great solution if you don't have any money or don't want to spend money. However, a much more sophisticated version of that, in my opinion, is Insight by iZotope. I would definitely get Insight, but understand that Insight is where the F is Insight on this thing. Um, Understand that Insight is not a plugin that really affects your sound. It's meters. It doesn't EQ anything, it doesn't compress anything, it doesn't master anything, it doesn't make anything louder. There's not even a volume knob on this thing. All it does is tell you a lot of important information about your mix and master so that you can get way, way, way better results than what you can hear through headphones in a kitchen or headphones in your bedroom or your monitors in a living room that isn't really sound treated. And even if it is sound treated, I highly recommend this plugin. Um, I go a lot deeper into that in the advanced production course, which you can look up if you want to check that out. So metering to me is a very big thing, possibly one of the most important plugins you can have, despite it doing literally nothing. It just gives you information on what the music is doing. However, since we're on the iZotope page, I would go for Neutron. Neutron because number one, Neutron, especially the advanced one, it has the mix assistant, which can be very helpful if you need to get mixes done quickly. It's basically like an AI robot version of a human being that's a mix assistant in your studio. So pretend that somebody came to you and said they really want to learn, they just graduated from audio school, and they really just want to work for free for you. Or if you will, pay them $400 and they'll work for free for the rest of your life. Um, it's a great, great tool. Aside from that, what I really like about Neutron is its ability to extremely, which even that is an understatement, extremely zero in on masking. So if you're really not used to mixing bass or you just want your bass to be more clear, there is no other plugin on the market that will do it like Neutron. You can set up span, and I do show you how to set up span in the 30-day power production course, like a poor man's Neutron, if you will. However, it's not like Neutron. It's a less detailed version of it as far as masking, showing you masking, and you can get there with Span doing that. But honestly, by the time you do all that and mess with that, that might be okay for you just to save the money for now for like a year, but start putting away money for Neutron because to go through that every single time with Voxengo Span is just painful, in my opinion. It's much easier just to bite the bullet, spend the $400, and with a few hits of a few buttons, a few clicks on Neutron, you're immediately seeing what is masking, and it is so easy to fix and so effective, it's crazy. One last plugin I can suggest from here, and guys, understand it's only because they're so massively helpful. This isn't like other bundles where it's like, yeah, you need an EQ, yeah, you need a compressor, oh, you might want to get a limiter, and you might want to get, oh, I don't know, a stereo widening tool and a really good reverb. That is bull crap compared to the things I'm showing you here. Lastly, Ozone 9. If you can, I know it's a tough one, but I would go for the advanced simply because, similar to Neutron, you have a master assistant as well. So it's basically an AI robot version of a student that just graduated from a prestigious audio school saying, hey, listen, if you pay me $500, I'll work for you for the rest of your life, assisting you in your mastering needs. It's well worth it. To make a long story short, I drag in reference tracks all the time. I ask Ozone 9 to analyze those tracks, match and tweak my own tracks to sound like their tracks, and it does it. And it gets pretty close. It's not perfect, but it does a great job. It gets me in the ballpark. And then from there, I just use my ears and tweak a little here and there. But the Master Assistant is no joke. It can really help with rebalancing your tones, your frequencies. It can really help with loudness and just anything that you ever wanted to know about your idol's music. If you go onto Beatport and download your idol's WAV file version of their track that's your favorite, it can really rock your world and basically jolt you into the future and save you about a half of a decade of heartbreak when you don't bite the bullet and don't spend the money. You let the price tag scare you away. Trust me, it's nothing compared to what this thing will do to help you. And aside from that, guys, to be straight up honest with you, it's not even all the features like the low end focus, like I was saying, the match EQ. Let's say you really like I don't know, just sticking with the tropical thing since it's in my head, Kygo. Drag in a Kygo track, it'll match the EQ of the Kygo track and it can apply that to your track. So you're basically getting the same kind of lift in frequencies and matched frequencies as Kygo. It's pretty ridiculously awesome. They're messing a lot with AI. iZotope is messing a lot with AI and they're changing the game. They always have been though. But aside from that, before I got distracted by the match EQ, I was going to say the presets for Ozone 9 are ridiculous. I really don't even master music anymore. I spent years learning how to master music because I mostly do work for myself nowadays. I don't even really bother with mastering too much anymore. You can like that statement, you can hate it, doesn't really matter. These presets are primo, bro. They're top notch. I slap a preset on there and it looks at my track, and between that, the Master Assistant, and the Match EQ, I'm right in the ballpark of my idols. It sounds pretty darn good. I don't stress about it. Maybe I use Insight, the original plugin that I showed you from iZotope a couple minutes back in this video. Maybe I use Insight to compare my stuff with my idols. But you don't need Insight to do that. You can compare your stuff to your favorite people that make music with this button right there, the reference button. You click that back and forth and toggle it, and it basically plays their stuff, then your stuff, then their stuff, then your stuff. And you can use the meters and the spectrograph to see how your stuff is faring and compared to your idle stuff. And it's really, really helpful. It helps you make better mix decisions, better production decisions, better arrangement decisions. It's unbelievable. It really is. And once you get to a better learning point and become advanced because of these things that they're showing you, it becomes so much easier just to throw a preset on it. It's loud enough. It sounds great. It's right in the ballpark of the people that you look up to and love. And you can move on with your life and go outside, work out, go for a swim, go to Kung Fu class, celebrate with an ice cream, and move on to hanging out with your cutie pie on the couch later that night. Or move on to touring the world. But that's it, guys. That's about as quickly as I can wrap it all up for you. I'm sure there's a million questions and there's a ton of stuff that I left out, but the overall thing is get Ableton or FL. FL is cheaper. Get Vengeance samples. Plug them into the sampler in your DAW. They're pretty professional, so you'll sound pro quick. If you want to combine those samples with another great tool to have, grab Nexus, grab a few expansions in the genres that you make, whether it be psytrance or hardstyle or EDM and dubstep, whatever it may be. You will sound pro almost instantly, guys. I know that's a very big statement, and some people will kind of fight that because people like to nitpick, but Nexus and Vengeance, they do not sell crap. When you buy their stuff, you sound like who you wanted to sound like pretty much instantly, or you sound like the genre of interest pretty much instantly. Take that stuff, use high quality plugins. At the very least, I'd probably at least buy Ozone. You could do without Insight for sure, and you could do without Neutron for sure. I would at least buy, if I was going cost effective, I would go FL, Vengeance Sample, Ozone. And then for Christmas, I'd start asking people either for Nexus, or I'm sorry, for the holidays. I don't mean to just exclude everyone that doesn't celebrate Christmas, excuse me. For the holidays or for your birthday or whatever it might be, celebration of some sort where someone's going to give you a gift, I would then go for Nexus and then slowly build up your arsenal of plugins, that being Nexus 3, and then lastly, Insight. So There you go, guys. I hope that was helpful, and I hope that this motivates you and sparks a lot of questions so that you have a foggy idea of what to do and where to go, but also understand that as a result of this, there's a ton of learning to do on my YouTube and inside of my courses. So go ahead and get started today, guys. I'm here for you.